guys, during Week 1 only on DraftKings. Back here, talking some Texans Chiefs. Recently engaged Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs set to open their title defense tonight against the Texans in a rematch of their divisional round classic from last season. They're at Arrowhead, but basically only them. About 16,000 fans will be allowed in. That's not too many. We welcome in Coach Eric Mangini now. Coach, what did the Texans have to do tonight to pull off the Week 1 upset over the Chiefs? And good morning and welcome back, and it's great to have you with us.
Good to be back. Good to see everybody, and excited about tonight. I'd say the first thing that they have to do is they've got to play complementary football, and that sounds like a coaching term, but it's true in the sense that offensively they're going to need long, sustained drives. The last thing they want to do is to try to play fast break type offense with the Chiefs. They're going to lose on that. Running the football, the Chiefs struggled some with stopping the run last year. I think they were 26th. So those long, sustained drives offensively, and try to figure out a little bit of what their identity is going to be without Hopkins. And then defensively, it's going to be really important to mix coverages. If you're going to double team, look, take your pick on who you want to double team. You just can't do it play in and play out where it's always Travis Kelce. Mahomes can't come to the line of scrimmage with pre-snap information. Otherwise, he's going to kill you. And then I'd say, and I've said this 1,000 times, he's so dangerous in the pocket. You've got to make sure that he doesn't get out of the pocket, because those broken plays equal big plays, and containing him and keeping him in the pocket is the other element defensively that they're going to have to do.
So, Coach, to me, I'm going to lay out kind of specifically 4 things, and I bounce it back to you and tell me how it resonates with you. I think the first one, and this is going to sound obvious, but in this game it's particularly important, they must win the turnover battle. Not play them even, and if they are negative in the plus minus, they have no chance. So that's number 1. Number 2, Brandon Cooks, who's listed as questionable, he has to play and not just be a decoy. He's got to stretch the defense in order to open up some of those running lanes or intermediate passing if David Johnson's coming out of the backfield. The third one is J.J. Watt has to have a monster game. I know he is not 3-time Defensive Player of the Year caliber anymore, but when he's been healthy, he's been outstanding. And lastly, I think Bill O'Brien's got to be super aggressive on 4th downs. The Chiefs have shown the ability in years past to score whether they have 75 yards to go or 45 yards to go. The key is to keep your offense on the field. So those 4 things, if we're talking about a Texans upset tomorrow morning, Coach, I think it's going to be because the Texans checked all 4 of those boxes.
Well, typically you do try to play a lot more aggressively when you feel like you're facing a team that you're outgunned with, and you'll take some more chances on 4th down. But the last thing that you want to do is give Kansas City opportunities with great field position. So understanding and when to take those chances and when not to take those chances, I do like what you're saying in terms of aggressiveness. Playing a clean game, that's something that you strive for every game. But you're right, giving them opportunities with turnovers, that'll be an issue as well. In terms of individual performances, J.J. Watt, that would help a lot. But I think collectively, the back end, the secondary, they can't not give Mahomes a bunch of pre-snap information, because otherwise J.J. Watt won't even have a chance to rush the passer because the ball will come out quickly.
Yeah, Coach, this is how I see it. There's 2 big factors in this game. One is Deshaun Watson, and Nick, you did a good job of highlighting the defensive struggles last year and then also against the 2 matchups that they had. J.J. Watt and that defense, I just can't see those guys giving up 4 touchdowns in the second quarter again. I can't see those guys giving up 50-plus points again. Like, what they did was, we don't see that week in and week out. Like, Mahomes putting up 50-something points, Mahomes throwing 4 touchdowns in the second quarter, that's almost impossible. Now, Nick, I know you probably say the other. So I don't see this defense struggling the way they did. But the biggest factor is Deshaun. Deshaun and his maturation. Deshaun is a player that does the hard things easy. He can make the big play. But we know that if a quarterback is going to lead the way, it's about situational football. It's about being able to get to your first read, your second read, and then going to the check down. Or if the check down isn't there, if no one's there, throwing it away. This is a guy that think he can win the game on each play that is called. He can, but you got to play chess. Don't play checkers. So, Coach, there's a lot of people talking about X's and O's. Wilds, I know you see the game differently as well, which I always love your perspective. But before we go there, Coach, I want to know, like, in the meeting room, you're the head coach, I'm player, I'm sitting in the front, I got my notepad open. What message are you delivering right now? Because this is something we've never seen before. We're dealing with COVID-19, no preseason. How are you going to speak to us to get us to do the things we need to do to be prepared for this moment?
Well, the most important thing going into the first game, and the first game is always the hardest game because of so many unknowns. You're doing things new, they're doing things new. You don't know how things are going to line. And now with no preseason, you've got the added element of not even being able to get a baseline. And that's like a baseline offensively, defensively, but even more importantly, on special teams, you're going in blind. So there are things that are going to happen in the course of the game, and especially the early part of the game, that are going to be disruptive. You may blow a coverage. You may give up a sack that because you don't have the right communication with the offensive line. You may see a personnel group that you didn't expect. You've got to relax and be able to come to the sideline and get those things fixed. This first game, the intensity level too, it's like being over caffeinated. Everybody's so hyped up to start playing that you can be exhausted by halftime. It's got to be. They're not going to win the game in the first quarter. This game has to be won over the course of the entire game. And if guys are spent or guys are fighting or frustrated early, Kansas City will just roll up on them.
Wow.
Coach, with the lack of the preseason, is there an element of taking advantage of that rather than being like, uh-oh, we might make mistakes or stuff might be new to us? Is there an element where, like, they haven't had a preseason, I think we can do X and put them at a disadvantage right away?
Yeah, now you're going to have to figure out what X is. Offensively, they'll go out with a script, and they'll try a lot of different things early. And whatever hits, then you try to give them a ton of that during the course of the game. Defensively, it's more problematic because you've got to react to everything they do. So if they want to come out with 5 true wide receivers, you need to have an answer for it. If they want to come out big, you need to have an answer for it. So you're preparing for so many multiples of multiples. Defensively, it's a lot more.